The 2nd Battalion, Duke of Lancaster's regiment, are returning to base after a nighttime strike-op in Basra. For Captain Phil Calderbank, 2 Lancs medical officer, any mission without casualties is a good one. But what the soldiers of 2 Lancs don't know is that an insurgent team have planted an improvised explosive device and are lying in wait for their convoy.
My vehicle just reached the actual junction itself when I heard a massive explosion behind me.
The IED team had buried a huge explosive device under fresh tarmac in the road. This undetectable bomb was remotely detonated with one of the last warriors in the British convoy directly on top of it. Everybody knew instantly that something major had kicked off.
You felt the blast in your face, all of about 100 and 150 metres away.
The attack was followed up immediately by a substantial small arms attack in the region of 25 to 30 armed militia opened up on the location of the warrior.
In many cases, an IED is used to kick off an ambush, because what happens is that the patrol's got to stop. You've got a vehicle down, you've got casualties, you're in the Insurgents killing area. So then you start getting hit by RPG and small arms fire.
With the warriors taking heavy fire and news of casualties coming over the net, 2 Lancs medical officer knows he has to leave the safety of his vehicle.
I took my Medbergen and my rifle, opened the back door and ran out along the side.
No one's still around?
As I approached the warrior, the first thing I did was jump in.
Anyone there? Anyone alive?
My first thoughts were that there couldn't really be any signs of life in it.
Calderbank climbs into the destroyed warrior, knowing that 2 of the occupants were medical officers under his command.
There had been every kind of level of extreme violence that could have happened had happened in the back of there. It was actually initially difficult to identify bodies within it. I immediately got back out and then climbed up on the side of the warrior to assess the bodies that I could see in the turret. Fortunately, one of them, the commander, was still alive and talking to me. He and I, by that stage, were both soaked in diesel. It's very difficult to see if somebody's bleeding or not. He'd suffered serious injuries, open fractures of his lower leg and closed fractures of his left arm.
Although Calderbank was convinced that all 6 people in the back of the warrior had been killed, incredibly, there was a survivor. Michael Carr, a young military policeman, had been dragged from the wreckage immediately after the blast. Relatively unscathed by the massive explosion, his remarkable escape was due to a last-minute change of seats.
I remember getting into the warrior first and sat closest to the gunner. That's when the King Smith came in and said, "Does anyone know how to work the rear doors?" I said, "Yeah." So we all got out again, so I could get in last. And then the doors were shut, and that was us waiting for the signal to go.
The 6 soldiers were using the ride home as a chance to catch up on a bit of sleep.
I just remember a really loud bang. That's it, and then the next thing is I seen the moon. That's when I knew something was wrong. When I came round, the first thing that hit me was the smell of diesel. And I can remember spitting a lot because I had a lot of dirt and diesel in my mouth. But I could just remember my face was burning. But I just remember seeing a figure coming over the top, shouting, "Is anyone all right?" I just remember shouting, "Help, get me out."
This footage, shot by a local news crew, shows the crater left by the IED blast.